the war. The men and women are going to be able to do it, but they need to have leadership. When will you show leadership? When will you show leadership?
Why don't you show some leadership and stand up to your fellow Democrats who won't fund the troops, who stand and play partisan politics while you don't give us the money? You want to stand up here and talk about the troops? You won't show any political courage to actually fund our department because you have Trump derangement syndrome and can't actually commit to anything meaningful. So I put this on you, Senator.
Now, here's what happened. A tense exchange erupted during a Senate hearing between Democratic Senator Gary Peters and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Peters pressed Hegseth over military leadership and demanded stronger action for U.S. troops. Hegseth fired back, accusing Democrats of blocking funding for the Defense Department and challenging Peters to show leadership within his own party. The exchange quickly spread online, drawing strong reactions from both Republicans and Democrats. The confrontation highlights the deep partisan divide in Washington over defense spending, military priorities, and the Trump administration's approach to national security. Now, this confrontation is getting a lot of attention online. An American nurse is at the center of a heated debate after a video appeared to show her confronting Muslim individuals over religion, immigration, and America's identity. Her comments have triggered a wave of reactions, with some viewers defending her right to speak, while others are condemning the remarks as religiously hostile. But what exactly happened in that moment? What did she actually say? Watch the original video and hear the exchange for yourself.
You need to leave. You're not welcome here.
We are welcome.
This is not a Muslim country. This is a Christian country. And
Stop looking at her like that. Please.
You need
Scrubs. You work with
it
people.
Doesn't matter.
What
matters is that you worship a terrorist who is a warlord, a pedophile, and Islam is a terrorist organization.
Yeah, because
not a
you're
religion.
Not educated
not
about
a religion.
It.
I'm very educated on this subject.
No, because you're obviously
you need to leave. You're not welcome here.
We are welcome.
This is not a Muslim country. This is a Christian country. And
Stop looking at her like that, please.
You need to leave.
You need to leave.
You're not welcome here.
We have citizenship here.
Why do you work in healthcare if you're like
You need to leave. You need to go back to your Islamic country where you came from. Okay?
No.
Everybody's aware of why you're here.
No.
Okay, so don't think that we don't know, and don't think you're going to get away with it.
Now to a heated moment in the WNBA. Chicago Sky guard DiJonai Carrington was ejected after a hard foul sent Indiana Fever's Sophie Cunningham to the floor during a fast break layup. After a video review, officials upgraded the contact to a flagrant 2, triggering an automatic ejection, but the controversy didn't end there. Carrington later posted white privilege on social media, suggesting race played a role in the decision. Cunningham pushed back, saying the incident had nothing to do with race and noting she had previously been ejected for a similar foul. Fever coach Stephanie White said she believed the ejection was the correct call, although she did not believe Carrington intentionally targeted Cunningham's neck. Now to Texas politics. Republican Senate candidate Ken Paxton drew a large crowd at a campaign event in San Antonio, with supporters filling the venue. The strong turnout is giving his campaign a boost as Paxton faces Democratic candidate James Talarico in the race for the U.S. Senate. Paxton is campaigning on a conservative platform and is seeking to rally Republican voters ahead of the election. Supporters say maintaining Republican control of Texas could be crucial for the party's Senate strategy, while Democrats are working to compete in what remains a closely watched political battleground. The size of one campaign event, however, does not by itself indicate the eventual election outcome.
I want to thank as well, he was here, I didn't know he was going to be here, Treasury Secretary, I think he's going to go down as the best ever, Scott Bessent. That's good, Scott. Don't make him too popular. I won't like him anymore. That's very good.
Now to a major energy development. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the Trump administration believes the strategic importance of the Strait of Hormuz could be significantly reduced as more energy moves through alternative routes. Bessent said between 50 and 70% of the energy currently moving through the strait could eventually be transported through underground pipelines, potentially reducing dependence on the critical waterway. His comments come amid heightened tensions in the region and concerns over the security of global energy supplies. Bessent argued that the strait may never return to its previous role if alternative infrastructure expands. The claim, however, represents an administration position and would depend on substantial infrastructure and investment. Bessent. Now, a confrontation during an immigration enforcement operation is drawing renewed attention. During Operation Midway Blitz in the Chicago suburbs, authorities say a vehicle struck ICE personnel as officers carried out arrests. Video circulating online also appears to show a woman attempting to interfere with an agent's vehicle while a detainee was being taken into custody, prompting the agent to draw a firearm. The incident has sparked a dispute over how the confrontation was portrayed in the media, with critics accusing some reports of leaving out important context. However, claims that news coverage was deliberately edited or fabricated should be independently verified. The full footage and official accounts provide important context. Meanwhile, Hunter Biden is speaking publicly about his father's health. In a BBC interview, Hunter Biden said former President Joe Biden has been experiencing significant pain as his cancer has spread. Hunter also addressed the sweeping pardon he received from his father, acknowledging that he understands why critics consider it unfair. His comments offer a rare personal look at the former president's health, while also reopening debate over the controversial pardon. Hunter Biden's remarks come as questions continue to surround both his father's medical condition and the political fallout from the pardon. Now to the latest from China. Beijing has announced sanctions targeting 6 American companies, along with new export controls on drones, adding another layer of tension between China and the United States. The move comes ahead of a potential September meeting between President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping. The latest action follows a series of escalating measures from both sides, including U.S. sanctions on Chinese shipping operators accused of handling Iranian fuel and higher tariffs tied to concerns over forced labor exports. With Trump and Xi potentially meeting soon, these new measures could become another major issue in already complicated U.S.-China negotiations. Meanwhile, President Trump is taking on 2 major Supreme Court setbacks. Trump has pushed back after the justices blocked key parts of his agenda involving birthright citizenship and the removal of a Federal Reserve governor. But the president is now looking to the Supreme Court for help on another major fight, his proposed White House ballroom. The legal battles highlight growing tensions between the administration and the nation's highest court over the limits of presidential authority. Trump has continued to challenge rulings he believes restrict his administration, while opponents argue that the courts are enforcing constitutional and legal limits on executive power. Now to a patriotic moment in Washington. A bald eagle made a dramatic appearance at the Freedom 250 UFC weigh-in on the National Mall directly in front of the White House. The crowd erupted with chants of USA, USA, USA as the iconic American symbol took center stage. The event is part of the celebrations surrounding America's 250th anniversary, bringing together UFC, national pride, and a historic Washington backdrop. It was certainly a memorable way to kick off the night. Now to the White House, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is set to step in for Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt during tomorrow's White House briefing, scheduled for 2 p.m. The appearance follows recent briefings involving other senior Trump administration officials, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Vice President J.D. Vance. Bessent's appearance will give the Treasury Secretary a rare opportunity to address reporters directly from the White House briefing room and could put economic policy and the administration's broader agenda in the spotlight. Now, to border security, a DHS Secretary John Mullen says agencies across the department, including the Coast Guard, ICE, and CBP, are working together to secure America's northern and southern borders. He also highlighted the U.S. Coast Guard's role in counter-drug operations, saying the service has helped seize 525,000 pounds of drugs this year. Mullen said Coast Guard personnel operate in the air and at sea while also handling land-based responsibilities. The administration says its broader enforcement effort is focused on border security, disrupting drug trafficking, and removing criminal illegal immigrants. Now to the latest on the storms. The western Massachusetts was hit by severe storms, with local reports of power outages and a building collapse in Springfield. And the dangerous weather pattern is continuing. Severe storms slammed parts of the plains, including a confirmed tornado and a report of hail measuring 4.5 inches. More severe weather is expected across parts of the Midwest, with the threat shifting toward the Great Lakes in the coming days. Residents in affected areas are being urged to monitor local weather alerts as conditions change.